Mr. Rick Hall.
Here.
Superintendent William Coe.
Here.
Dr. Anita Herron.
Here.
Dr. Michael McDonald.
Here.
Mrs. Claire Maxwell.
Here.
Judge Steve Daniel.
Here.
Mayor Joe Carr.
Here. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes from the previous meeting of May 12th?
I have. I've read them and reviewed them and found them to be in order. As we move, they be accepted.
We have a motion for acceptance of the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Thank you, Judge. Public comments. Lynn, do we have any?
We do not.
Okay. We're now to item 4, open positions. Ms. Duke, you're recognized.
We have one open full-time female detention officer position and no leaves as of this moment.
That's right.
Go back and it'll be on your desk.
Any questions? I assume that concludes your report?
Oh, yes, it
Yes,
does.
ma'am. Great, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Duke on the open position part of the report? Seeing none, and without objection, we will accept. Item 5 is the data report, please, ma'am.
So on the table you have in front of you our data report for today. We had, at the time that this was printed up, we had 15 kids in the facility, 6 of those from Rutherford. We had 2 from Coffee County, 2 from Sumner County, and 1 each from Franklin, Gibson, Lauderdale, Robertson, and Tipton. And unless there are specific questions, then that concludes that.
Any questions, Ms. Duke, on the data report? Judge?
Oh, I'm staggered by a 13-year-old charged with first-degree murder, but it's hard to contemplate.
They've actually had a birthday since they've been with us.
It's difficult to comprehend, isn't
It is.
it? I don't comprehend.
There's not one on this whole list that's not a violent kid. There's not one. So I was telling somebody the other day, I said, it's not, the people that are in there are not who, we're not talking about kids who've skipped school.
Right.
No, this isn't truancy.
It's not.
Well, of course, the statute doesn't provide that really is the proper use of it, and I think these comply with the statute.
Yeah. But
Any,
the public perception is always that, you know, these are just kids that have, but it's not. These are, you know,
Big time out.
they are.
any further comments or any questions for Ms. Duke on the data report? We're not going to blow through this. You want to look at this for a while. Seeing that, if there is no objection, we will accept. Thank you, Ms. Duke. Item 6, the education report, please, ma'am.
So you've got the educational report for May, and we had several visits from ELS and a couple from special education. Besides that, we had the Memorial Day holiday and then just the general continuation of our core subjects of English, math, history, science, Spanish, and then some of the kids obviously are using Penn Foster while they're there.
Question? Yes.
And Dr. Sullivan has told me to let you all know, there's a graduation coming up and a family would like us to be there. He will be there and I will be there as well.
So how do we go about notifying the board, in particular the chair? So he can remember, right?
Right.
Because he needs a lot of help.
Next month, we had talked about us having Garland Henley, who's kind of over our education department, come this month. He's actually on vacation today,
Okay.
but I have him scheduled to come, and he knows to be here next month, and he will be happy to just take questions off from the hip, or if you have something that he needs to look at between now and then, he'll happily do that. And he knows when his graduations are scheduled for.
So to that point, and to Ms. Maxwell's point, it's not going to be scheduled between now and the next board meeting, correct, in July?
I know.
I don't want it to fall in there and
I
we go,
don't-
we missed it.
I don't know, but when he gets back from vacation, we'll definitely follow
So
up.
Lynn, yeah, what I'd like for you to do, if you don't mind, with, in cooperation with the board, I would like this board, in particular, the Vice Chair, Judge Daniel, to be included, even though he's rolling off. I think it would be important that he be there. And if you, as soon as you find out, if you could give us an email, please, ma'am, about a scheduling date, that would be great. The sooner the better.
Okay.
I just don't want it to fall in the cracks between in July or later this month and we miss it.
All right.
Right, Dr. McDonald?
Yes, sir.
Will do.
That's scheduled for the 14th, is that right, of July?
Oh, it's already been
Monday.
scheduled?
I'm talking about our board meetings.
Oh, that would, maybe, I guess.
Yes, that is the
I don't know.
second, that is the second Monday in July.
But your term ends in June, does it not, Judge?
Actually, August.
Oh, well then, even more better. Okay, good. For some reason, I thought it ended in June. But
I think I'll go through August
I
31st.
beg your forgiveness on that. Good, okay. So you'll be with us in July at the very least.
I will,
Excellent, outstanding.
unless a creek rises or something.
I understand about the creek. Any other questions for Ms. Duke on the education report? Seeing none, if there is no objection, we will accept. Other business.
So as we just talked about, Mr. Garland Hanley cannot be here this month, but he has it on his schedule and is prepared to come next month to answer any and all education questions. And I think that y'all will enjoy his attendance at this board meeting immensely.
Thank you, and we look forward to that. Any other business? I have one piece of business. Any other business?
Mayor,
Yes, sir, you're recognized.
thank you. I just have one point of a personal privilege.
Sure.
I just want to let the board know that I will not be here next month. I do not like missing meetings, and this is like my first.
I don't recall, Dr. McDonald, you submitting the appropriate form for excused absence. Oh, right, Dr. Herron, is that how we roll around here?
That's it.
Here I've been going through shame.
2 signatures.
Exactly. In triplicate, I might add. You get to keep the pink copy, we get the white and the yellow. For those who, I'm dating myself here, right?
We submit those online now.
I know.
Oh, do we? Okay. We'll miss you in July. And if, Lynn, I also, Dr. McDonald, was given a pretty cool honor. Why don't you share that with the board?
Well, there was a fabulous article in the local news. It was on WGNS, and I believe that Dr. McDonald is working in cooperation with some young folks, and I'm sure that he can share how.
Is that at
all the
Harvard or
details
Yale?
of
Where is that, Dr. McDonald?
It should be MTSU, but
Well, come on. This is a big deal. Why
It is a big
please,
deal. Tell
please share with the board this.
I'm going to be teaching a law and trial advocacy for the Oxford Royal Academy
Yes.
out of London, and they have academies across the globe. And so I'm going to be at Yale next month. It's for 5 weeks.
Would that be the purpose for which you will miss
Yes,
the next
sir.
board meeting? Okay, so you
Yes,
get an
sir.
excused absence.
Well, I'm partying because I won't be here for this meeting, and then our church picnic
Yeah.
is like the last week of this month, so I won't be sitting.
Well, we got to do that. Well, anyway,
But-
congratulations.
Thank you
That's a
very
big.
much.
That's a big
Thank
deal.
you. Thank you.
We're very proud of you.
Well.
Proud to
I
know
just-
you.
No, I just.
Yeah,
want
he's
to-
now royalty or something, that right?
No, I just want to know that what we have in this county, is, we have a lot to be proud of.
We do.
So I want y'all to know I'm going to ask for your prayers and send me off.
We got that. We got that code for you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. Yes, Claire.
And I want to commend, I am very proud to serve on this committee. And I'm so glad that we are setting, I think, a standard in Tennessee. And after what's been going on in Knoxville, with the Bean Center or something, we have.
What
really-
happened in Knoxville?
There
Big
is-
article in the paper.
Yeah,
this
there's
morning.
been a-
I have been up to my ears in my own, trying to stay off my own headline.
There's
I
a
haven't read
juvenile
that.
detention center that's been open since the 70s.
72.
And it's named after Mr. Bean. He's been the one, he's in his 80s now. He's the one person who's been in charge of it. But they've had a myriad of problems
Oh,
for
really?
years, and he's finally been forced out.
Wow.
Yeah, and so.
And a myriad of problems with their board.
Exactly. And not been, they basically have given him carte blanche and haven't given the oversight that they should have. And things could have been made better years earlier, but, so I'm just very thankful. You are awesome. We don't have those issues, so.
Well, and I will say, just a point of privilege, and thank you for bringing that up. There's a lot of made by many about being transparent, and I've often said, you don't have to worry about being transparent if you're just honest. Just tell the truth.
Right.
And it doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. We all make them, and we make them rather routinely. I think what we're pretty good at is not repeating them, though. We make new ones. We don't make the same ones over and over
Right.
again. We go on to new mistakes.
Right.
And I think this accountability is a good thing, and it's non-threatening. It's not meant to be threatening. It's meant to make sure that we help you provide the best service you can to these young people who are in a bad place.
Right.
And they're redeemable, and they, just like recovery court, they need to know that there's redemption there for them, regardless of what they've done. And you do that, and we appreciate it.
We had he may speak on it a little next month, but we had a young man that was with us for a very long time for some of these serious charges, and he has completed his adult sentence now, and he, one of the first people that he wanted to come back and visit with was Mr. Garland Henley.
Wow.
And he got to speak with him for some time the other day. So I think that speaks to Garland and his team and what they pour into those kids in ways that the kids don't even know it's happening.
So Lynn, let me say this as we get ready to adjourn, just a thought. I think it would be good for me, and I don't think it would, the rest of the board being different, if we started hearing a little more of the good stories that are going on. And it doesn't matter how small or insignificant it may seem to you guys, if it's a big deal to them, I think putting a human touch on this would be good for us going forward. So if
Okay.
you have something that you could include, if it's okay with the board, that we just putting on the agenda the stories. We do that Correctional Work Center. We're starting to do a little bit of that. I think the board would be well served to hear the victories that are taking place over there, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Can do that.
Is there any other business before the board? Seeing none?
I-
Yes, sir.
One comment I'd like to add to that. A lot of people, if they looked at these charges, they think that these people are unredeemable.
That's correct.
And that same thing happens in adult court. And that's, you were talking to recovery court, but all of these courts dealing with all these serious charges, all of those people's souls and capabilities are redeemable.
Yes.
And the truth of the matter is, in the most serious of these cases, unless it's a death penalty case, almost everybody is going to ultimately get out of prison. And so if we put out a seed in them to change their lives and to become productive, we're making a big change for society, for them, but in addition to all of their families, and they all come from families and have families. So it's an important work.
It is.
And it's an important thing for people to keep in mind that they need, all people need to be able to reach out to people who are downtrodden and give them a helping hand up. Because if you don't, they never get up.
That's correct. And I think the 7 of us in particular, serving in this capacity as board members, have an obligation to reach out and assist them pull themselves up. That is an obligation. Indeed, I think part of being on the board is understanding that that's an obligation we have and we take seriously. And I know you do, but I want to remind ourselves why we're here is to help Lynn and her staff, but also to assist these young people who are at a crossroads, and they are redeemable, Judge, most certainly are.
Well, I have at least this conversation at least once a week with someone across the United States, and the same thing I say every time is that providing some sort of restorative component plants that seed that you're talking about, Judge, and they will either get it or act like they're getting it. Both is positive. If they're getting it, then that means that you're making some sort of difference in their life, and they're hopefully going to change. If they're acting like they're getting it, they're going to be better toward our staff, which can be sometimes, Leon, you know as well as anybody, that sometimes that's a hard thing to get through during the day. So any restorative component that we can provide, I don't like to use the term, rehabilitation. I like to use restorative, but any kind of component like that we can use to get someone through whatever, sentence that they're doing, they're either going to act like they're getting it or they're going to get it. So one way or another, it's a positive thing.
And then what restorative programs do they have in lieu of juvenile court? So in lieu of juvenile detention, and I would like to see more of that versus always, not that the juvenile detention, you're not doing great things in there, but is there anything that is restorative prior to juvenile detention?
Yes, indeed. The juvenile judge here has wide discretion and has numerous programs to try to reintegrate people with their family, to train them to, if they will simply sign on, there's a number of that. A juvenile judge has more facilities and capabilities than any trial judge in this state as far as reaching out to.
Did Judge Lampley ever come and
So
speak
you
with
you
us?
are just taking the words out of my mouth. I'm sitting here listening to this conversation, and with the board's permission, I will reach out to Judge Lampley and I will ask him if he would mind coming to the board and just having a conversation about those things in particular. But generally, Lynn, I think it'd be a good idea periodically if Judge Lampley came to the board just to visit with us. No, it's not like a gotcha or scrutiny or anything. It's just like, tell us what's going on. Tell us how we can better help you serve these young people. And I think, Doctor, you and Judge having this conversation kind of points to the fact that I would like a little more interaction from Judge Lampley at this meeting, if it's possible. There's no
Or
gotcha
someone from his office.
I'm sorry?
Or someone from his office.
Yeah,
would do.
one and the same. Yes, sir.
A better exercise would be to go out and see him in operation and see all of his services in operation, somewhat of a field trip.
We could do that to the extent that that's available to us. I think that's an outstanding idea. I'm not sure to what extent that would be available to us. Can you check on some of that as well and get back to us?
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Dr. Harris.
And what he does, is it public knowledge? Because I mean, I don't see anything like.
See, I always thought it was somewhat.
I mean, as
in
far
a
as
hearing,
this-
in a trial hearing, they may not be able to have participation. But today, I bet you today, he's hearing child support cases, paternity actions between children who are having children, parents who are trying to supervise children, delinquencies, all kinds of various things, and they have social workers, and it's a myriad of services that can be made available that or tools he can use in his toolbox. So it's a high volume environment.
Yep.
And a lot of these folks are pro se, which drives a trial judge nuts. That means they're representing themselves, and you're trying to follow the law and make decisions about evidence, and they're screwing it up, and it's wild.
Sounds like it.
Even if because of scheduling and court issues, the judge may not be able to be a part of the field trip, or because of his courtroom policies or rules. I can only attest to what it was prior to Judge Lampley, but he has a juvenile probation office that's called Youth Services.
Yes, Tina Bigby.
And they are the group of folks who are going to be working closely with the families and setting up those services, and they probably have a lot of information that you might be interested in.
So, yeah, Tina Bigby is the Director of Youth Services, does a phenomenal job, she and her staff. And so what I will do as well, Lynn, if you will reach out to Tina as well and find out what who the appropriate person is to just share with the board the day-to-day workings of how all that works out. I just think we could be better board members if we knew more about how things work transactionally.
And actually, you might have, the board might have another mission where they could have some interrelation with their staff to help promote things that you're interested in about the making a man and
Yeah.
all those kind of programs that you're talking about in youth services.
Okay.
We can't do it from here
No.
because these folks that we have here are not going anywhere with these charges pending, and they haven't been resolved. But those other folks could perhaps use the board's influence in promoting
Yep.
activities that could be beneficial to them.
I agree.
These are also things the school system is trying to do. I mean, this is not the same school 30, 40 years ago when we went to school. We have drug
I
programs.
wish I
We
was
have
going to school
counseling-
40 years ago.
counsel-
Thank you.
Counseling programs that we can offer the students.
Well, and you'd really be surprised at how many organizations and agencies we reach through the opioid board also.
Yes.
I mean, there are so many that we're providing funding for that are doing those things, like Judge said, out in the community that are not necessarily incarcerated, but the pre and the post. There's a lot of different programs that we're working with through that.
And there's huge needs, as everybody around this table knows, about moving folks who are in these penal settings into the community. I mean, housing is an incredible difficulty for these people. If they go back to where they came from, they will not succeed. They have got to make a complete break, and to do that, it takes resources. And housing is very expensive here, and transportation, and there's a myriad of things that programs. I'll just use Doors of Hope. I used to have a relationship with them. That's transitional for women trying to get out of prison and drugs and huge barriers that, of course, it takes somebody, some agency, some nonprofit to step in and make a difference for those people and give that grace to get them across the hump. So it's a big problem, and this is just one end of it.
One end of it, but it's our end, and I think raising our level of awareness is an excellent start.
So,
Any other business? Seeing none, without objection, we adjourn.
I thought you had business.
Yes, ma'am.